Good morning, my dear students. Let me start this session with what happened to Sonia, who was a college student. She was enjoying her Christmas holidays. One morning, her friend Tina called her and gave her an idea of arranging a get-together of their classmates of plus 2 class. Sonia was also very interested at the proposal and was very busy contacting all the classmates. Unexpectedly, the telephone in the living room began to ring. "Please answer the phone, Sonia," called out her mom. One hand busy with her mobile, she leaned towards the phone and grabbed the receiver and answered, "Hello? Yes? No. I don't know. But he called him on his mobile." Bang! On the other side, the phone was put down. Then she continued planning out her meeting. The small get-together went off very well. Sonia was thrilled that it had turned out so beautifully. That evening, when she got back home, her father asked, "Did you receive any call for me today?" Sonia thought for a while and said, "Yes, I did. Someone wanted to reach you on the phone and I asked him to call on your mobile." After a moment of silence, her father told her, "Sonia, do you know what you have done? That was an urgent call from my office. They were trying to contact me at home as my mobile was not reachable. Since I couldn't attend the call, we incurred a huge business loss." Sonia was dumbstruck, as she never imagined that a small careless response over a phone could have such serious consequences. Small things do count in life. Sonia learned a lesson. However busy we are, we should never forget basic etiquette, even answering a phone call. Therefore, my dear students, today we are going to discuss the importance of etiquette and manners. The Oxford Dictionary describes etiquette as the customary code of polite behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or group. Simple and pleasant ways of greeting and treating people, and even small gestures of care and kindness to others, make up this customary code of polite behavior. Let us see what is the origin of this word etiquette. There is an interesting story behind the word etiquette. A French king, Louis XIV, had exquisite gardens at his palace. But soon his gardener discovered that the king's people were trampling through the garden and destroying it. So he put up a sign or etiquettes to warn them off. But the dukes and duchesses walked right past the signs, and finally the king himself had to decree that no one was to go beyond the bounds of the etiquettes. Gradually, etiquette was used to name the ticket in court functions that listed the rules of where to stand and what to do. And today the same word refers to the small codes that an individual should follow in a society. A famous author once commented, "The rules of good manners are the traffic lights of human interaction. They make it so that we don't crash into one another in everyday behavior." Etiquettes and manners help us to keep off the grass, to stay within certain boundaries in order not to destroy the beauty of ours and others' lives. Manners maketh man. Once there lived a peaceful and just king. But no matter how many times he told the people to do things, they would never obey. As he didn't want to punish or imprison anyone, he ended up with no authority. A young man heard about the king's predicament and approached him with a solution. He gave the king 2 small pieces of parchment, saying, "These are the spells that I have prepared for you. Your Highness, use the first spell before telling people what you want them to do, and use the second one when they have done it." A smile will indicate that the person remains under your power. Do this, and the spell will last forever. The young man's magic did work. Whenever the king used the spells, everyone obeyed him and smiled at him. Hearing about this, the greatest wizard of the country came to meet the young man. He wanted to know more about the spells and how it worked. The young man told him, "The magic words are please and thank you. I learned this magic as a child," he said. "My tutor constantly repeated that with good manners you could get anything. The king only needed to add some courtesy to get what he wanted." Greeting and saluting people are always considered important in every society. Certainly, it brings smiles on people's faces and brings back one to us too. In Indian culture, we greet people with an ancient Sanskrit greeting, Namaste. It means, "I bow to the divine in you." This respect for the divine presence of God in others lies at the base of good manners and etiquette. In knowing how to behave appropriately in a given situation with pleasant words and thoughtful actions is a habit worth cultivating, as it remains beneficial for us our whole life long. Now let us read 3 words starting with the C: custom, common sense, and consideration. These are the 3 C's to make etiquette easy in our lives. Recognizing first the custom and tradition of the society in which we live, using second our common sense to respond or adapt to the situation will surely require a certain amount of respect, and the third, consideration. It is necessary to be aware of the need to respect certain traditional courtesies and customs. For example, in most Indian traditions, it is considered polite to remove one's footwear at the door before entering a religious place of worship, or even a home, or to offer a guest at least a glass of water before they leave. Compared to the past, there is definitely a decline and an erosion of small courtesies in daily interactions. We face a great danger while building our own worlds or becoming totally unaware of how much concern and respect for others matter in our lives. Remember that the basic concept of etiquette and good manners, treating others with kindness and respect, is timeless. Now let us see different types of etiquettes. Man is a social being, and it is primarily our behavior and attitude that make us more civilized and respectable in society. Since we get involved in numerous situations in life, there is a need to follow certain manners in our conduct, suiting each situation. Let us now see the different etiquettes that should be practiced in various situations. Number one, family etiquette. Like other values, etiquette too begins at home. Since home is the place where we are our true selves, practicing proper etiquette and maintaining them is very important. Greeting family members, respecting their privacy, asking permission before borrowing things, using the magic words, please, thank you, and sorry, doing our share of the housework, eating meals together, keeping family discussions confidential, etc. would be some of them, and their daily practice would help one to mature in family habit. Second, social etiquette. Different places and situations can have different rules of behavior, but it is wise to remember that the common foundation is always respect. Recognizing and respecting the culture, dressing appropriately, greeting people accordingly, and having conversations without interrupting the other person, giving and receiving compliments graciously, etc., would be some great steps to be well-mannered in society. Being aware of the fact that every individual is entitled to a bit of peace and quietness would help us to respect their sound space and to consider them when we listen to music, chatter and shout with friends, or while having cell phone conversations in public spaces. Greeting, wishing and visiting on birthdays and similar occasions are yet another gesture. Third, dining etiquette. In an interview, a successful business chief executive officer once spoke of how the new generation is unmindful of dining etiquette. His company had made some fresh recruitment from a prestigious university. In order to welcome and honor the fresh young group, he hosted a great dinner. But he was quite embarrassed to see the poor dining etiquette of those brilliant students. He concluded saying, we could be geniuses in studies, but we are somehow substandard in good manners. Good table manners include not just how to behave at the dinner table and using the right cutlery, but it also involves pacing ourselves to match our fellow diners and to consider help and service while the food is being passed around. Fourth, professional etiquette. Knowing that respect translates into success would be the best way to get started and to improve in professional etiquette. When we respect the time and effort of our co-workers and friends, we would always make every effort to be on time for appointments and meetings. Dressing appropriately for the work environment, congratulating others on their work, and having a helping attitude towards others would certainly help us maintain a good and genuine relationship with our colleagues. Greeting someone with an effective handshake, making eye contact during conversations, asking the right questions, and knowing how to initiate appropriate follow-up for contacts will be a good base for interview and applicant etiquette. Fifth, social media etiquette. In our technology-driven world, Keeping high standards in social media etiquette is an important requisite. This would include proper texting, answering calls politely, writing an etiquette-friendly mail, and maintaining more quality in our social networking sites. A prudent step would be to avoid put-downs of any kind and to never post or share anything that would divulge too much information about us and our families and friends, as it could even risk our own personal privacy. The golden rule which would help us more in this area would be to offer a sincere apology if we have made mistakes and to play by the rules of the social platform we use, thus respecting the group and the community. Finally, let us remember, little things do count. There's an interesting story, Chain of Smiles, about a little girl who goes about collecting big piles of smiles. Through her small gestures of help and sacrifice, she transmits a chain of happiness and was able to collect a bunch of heartfelt smiles. As we move through our day, we see many people, bus drivers, fellow passengers, and people on the street, friends and countless others. How we deal with them, treating them with respect, smiling at them, etc., could make a difference to their day as well as ours. We could even transform these countless situations into opportunities for practicing small acts of kindness. For example, opening the door for someone weighed down by a package, holding the elevator for someone running to catch it, apologizing when we accidentally bump into someone, offering our place in line at the supermarket to someone with only a few items, etc. If each one of us could practice both small and large gestures of etiquette every day to those around us and even to strangers, these little acts may have a domino effect on the people we touch and thus may just start a magical chain of happiness. So dear students, I would like to give you 3 questions as homework. Thank you. God bless you.